Hi, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Words, Images, and Worlds. It is maybe a chilling edition. I think I need to get this out in time for Halloween. Talking with Bram Stoker Award-winning, Shirley Jackson Award-winning author Nicole Cushing. Nicole, thanks for jumping in and talking with me.
Well, thank you. I do have to amend your description slightly.
Oh,
I've been nominated for the Shirley Jackson, but I have not yet won it. So you've awarded me a win that the jurors didn't see fit to give me, but
oh,
I did win the Bram Stoker Award. So
mhm.
that part is accurate. Yeah, but the Jackson has thus far eluded me despite two nominations. But who knows? Maybe you're basically giving me a little bit of good luck for the future.
Absolutely. I dub thee. I dub thee. If I were on the jury, how about that? If I were on the jury.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go. And my
yeah.
cat is here. This is Jasmine, the jazzy cat,
Hi,
here,
Jasmine.
and she's made herself. Yeah, she's making herself known here. So she may decide to show us some of her tail and her
Yeah,
haunches and all kinds of. I'll be poking my head here and
yes.
there and everywhere to try to make sure because she wants to be star of the show,
Well,
but she's
Jasmine
not.
is
I'm the
welcome.
star of the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Jasmine is welcome, and is doing amazing Zoom tricks. But so far, I don't think Jasmine has written any books, and so,
No,
um,
she hasn't. I mean, she wants to be my assistant, but the only thing she's really good at is chasing mice and occasional skink that gets into the house. She
mhm.
likes lizards, she likes mice, and she likes taking up space in the
Right.
zoo. So she'll settle down here in a second.
No worries, no worries at all. We love the pets and the Zoom pets. I'll also
Yeah.
mention a couple of titles here. So the Mirrors being a collection of yours, Children of No One, and of course Mr. Suicide, I believe was your debut. Is that right? The Bram Stoker
Yeah, it was my
Award-winning.
debut novel.
hmm
Yeah.
And you currently have a book that will circle back around to The Plastic Priest, which I've been reading through NetGalley. Um, so lots
Yeah.
of, and that's just the surface. You have other books as well. You have a
Yeah,
list and litany.
definitely.
Yeah. So
Yes.
curious about what led you to the written word.
Well, I lived in a household that valued education broadly and reading in particular. That's not to say that my parents were voracious readers. They were not, but they knew that reading was good just for social mobility. They wanted us to do better than they had done, and that part of the American dream.
hmm
And so we're taken to libraries, and it just stuck. For me, it just was the right stimulus at the right time. So I was a kid who really, really like I was geeking out, like reading the dictionary and looking at in the dictionary you have like they would all the derivations of the words, like all the this is the best thing ever. And I guess writing was also kind of an inexpensive way of entertaining oneself. My brother and I would write these little satires of television shows, mashups of things like Sanford and Son Meet the Wolf, this kind of thing, like just very unusual kinds of things that were satirical and just to entertain each other. And so it was just I think I might be hardwired to love the written word because I don't think there are other readers in my family, but I think I've probably dove into it with greater alacrity and greater enthusiasm.
Yeah, yeah, love that. I love that sort of nest of book pages that sometimes nurture people. Um, so as you're writing, I have sort of a Ray Bradbury question for you. There's something I like to ask authors, particularly of short stories. Where do you feel like the ideas come from?
Um, it's different for different stories.
Hmm.
Sometimes they've come from nightmares. That's part of where, especially images. Uh, it's hard to really draw a coherent narrative from a nightmare because nightmares are, by their very nature, non-linear.
Hmm.
But there are images from nightmares that I've taken out and then built a linear story frame around the occurrence of that image. Sometimes they come from life experience. In the case of the plastic priest, I when my father passed away a couple of years ago, I grew up in the Episcopal Church, and there was an Episcopal priest who came back to our house to do like some readings of texts. That famous psalm, for example, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want," etc. And I have been rooted in the church for. Was very emotional when that was being read,
Hmm.
and it led me to kind of have this sense of like long for some connection for that kind of thing, but I am just my thought life right now.
Hmm.
And so combining that with some of the experiences I've had, I work in a bookstore, and I've actually ran into, I couldn't have been caught dead with this book when I was, before I retired. Now I have a lot more freedom, and that's happened like on more than one occasion. And so thinking about the idea of like the decisions that we make when we're younger and how they in some sense imprison us or limit our possibilities is in some ways this window of opportunity. But once you get in the middle age, you've made choices that define you, and by defining you, those choices um, become a bit like a prison.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, really a book that explores some questions of life and experiences. Anything else about the Plastic Priest that you would want to share for listeners that may be looking for the next sort of frightening and thoughtful read?
I Well, it's interesting because when I first started out, I was very much more of a graphic, mega disturbing, kind of horror author.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now I'm, Publishers Weekly refers to the Plastic Priest as a dark fantasy, and I think that you could see that. I'm really leaning into some of the traditions of storytelling that I've learned from reading in, translated fiction, are ways I tell the story in the Plastic Priest that are methods that I've learned from reading writers like there's a Eastern European writer named Milan Kundera, for
Hmm.
example, or another Eastern European writer named Witold Gombrowicz.
Hmm.
And these methods are what I'm using now. And so it's weird fiction in one sense. It's in both the sense that it's unusual, but this tradition of the weird that is growing and gaining momentum, certainly in the US, where it's growing beyond the genre boundary and basically touching in some way onto the ineffable. Um, my way of doing that was also can't help myself. Since I was a teenager, I've always been a wisecracker on the page,
Hmm.
and so you have this in many ways dark, but also satirical, but also kind of mind blowing and unusual, surreal sort of storytelling that is done in short compass. It's about 20,000 words So it's like if my work is like a hallucinogen, this is a microdose. This is like a nice little microdose of the hallucinogen to get a sense of whether it works for you or not. So if you're open to something different, if you're looking for something different, if you're looking for something beyond what is the ordinary horror book, then I think you may be open to this, even if you're not a horror reader, and if you usually read maybe more literary fiction, and you're looking for something kind of different. I would suggest it as something different. It's not for everyone, but it's really more for people who are open-minded enough to have an experience that is unpredictable. And a lot of readers don't want that. I'm here for you. I got you hooked up. Me and Jasmine, the Jazzy Cat, we're on your side. We got you.
Love it, love it. I love Kundera and Gombrowicz and some of those minglings together of the literary, the psychological, the strange, the unexpected. So I'm totally here for it.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So by means of a final official question, and then we can talk through anything else that you'd like to mention before we close. Um, you can sort of approach the next question as next creative steps, but also where listeners can go to learn more about your work, including the opportunity to check out more about the book.
you can find out more about me at my website, NicoleCushing.com. That's NicoleCushing.com. Sometimes people want to put an H in Nicole. There's no H in my Nicole. I don't need an H. I'm just Nicole. And also on all the socials. Of course, now Twitter has kind of been fragmented, and now we have Sky, and now we have. I'm convinced that it could be because I'm just too damned old to be on TikTok. But yeah, but the Plastic Priest. I would suggest people check out the Goodreads reviews. That already has a number of advanced reviews up there, and it gives you a good sense of like legitimate, authentic, responses to the book from where people are sitting. And I always find that educational to see, what actual like readers in the wild are thinking of this, and how they're appreciating it and how they're all taking it in. So I would say those are two good places to find out about the book and find out about me.
All right, wonderful. Anything that we've missed in the talk through that you want to make sure to share before we close?
Well, I'm a goofy weirdo. I live in southern Indiana, and I love my life. And I would just say if anyone is wanting to be a writer out there, just but the rewards of it, both internally, the journey that you take within yourself, but also occasionally externally with the appreciation you get from readers, makes it very worthwhile, in my opinion. If it's meant for you, there's nothing better I recommend.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Nicole, and thanks to Jasmine for the cameo appearances. And hope to talk with you again sometime soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.